I thought it was really good. I actually thought it was something that maybe Scott had done.
Oh, really?
It was not as quite as clean as Scott's picture.
I didn't spend very much time on it. Obviously the head was way too big for his body.
No, but that's what makes it great.
It was super ridiculous. I legitimately only made it because I was like, shit, he's not even going to notice my question if I don't like include a picture or something because, it's Scott.
Yeah, he might have, though. Scott's sometimes pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about is how the fuck did you beat me in fantasy football?
I'm really good.
Except my wife beat you last week.
My team wasn't that good last week.
Yeah. God damn it.
I should have won, except my stud barely played.
I know. Well, what happened? So I woke up in the morning to this. Holy shit, I beat Chris. And I was like, good, because I should have beat Chris last week.
Somebody had to beat me.
God damn it.
Yeah, I've been really good this season. I mean, to be fair, I'm really good every season, but all my guys get injured, and I have to play off the waivers.
I hope Anthony Kamara has a minor injury that doesn't affect his career, but just slows him up a little bit because the Giants were hot garbage, and that's why you beat me.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. That's what fantasy football is.
I don't even want to talk to you anymore.
That's fair.
What are we talking about?
Should we get started then?
Yeah.
All right. Hey everybody, I'm Chris.
I'm Nick.
And this is Two Dumb Dads, episode 38 for, I don't know, what freaking... October 12th. Yeah, that's when this thing's going to release. So we are doing one of those kind of generic topics this week because we don't feel creative. So we're going to talk a little bit about screen time and why our kids just completely watch TV all day.
Listen, to be fair, the fact that I even got over here to record, I think is a triumph in and of itself.
Why is that?
Because it's work and it's busy and it's like I fucking can't.
Because you had to pull yourself away from the screen. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Perfect.
Sometimes you just want to watch some screen time.
But before we dive in, we're going to. We want to mention a couple updates on our fun little Halloween thing.
Right.
So if you've been following along, you know that so far for our Funtabulous Fright Fest, we have done A Quiet Place. We've done The Babadook. And this upcoming week, this Monday, we are going to have Cargo. It's a nice little story about zombies, but not really about zombies, but like parenting with zombies. It's cool. Yeah. Not really parenting. We'll get there. Well, yeah. We'll talk about that on Monday.
It's about being a father in a zombie apocalypse.
Sure.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we do have one more movie to talk about after that, and we're letting you decide. So if you visit our Facebook page right now, our Facebook group, I should say, we have a poll up for which film you're going to make me be tortured with last. Right now it's a tight race between a couple of choices, basically between my choice and Nick's choice.
With the third
and Nick,
one,
what are the movies we're looking at?
The one that was winning up until I checked like 5 minutes ago is The Conjuring, which you can find on Netflix, which is a very highly reviewed, quote unquote, based on a true story film.
It's a ghost story, right?
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me. It's of all the movies that I've posed, there are two that have scared the shit out of me. That is one of them. Mm-hmm. The second one is The Mist, which is not winning, but I'm gonna save the big one for last.
Fair.
Is The Mist, which is a Stephen King adaptation, which has I think is a really good movie. The other one is 1922, also on Netflix, and a Stephen King adaptation.
I didn't know that was a horror film. I thought that was just like an alternate reality film.
It's a horror film.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you want to learn more about that, you can also listen to Halfway Son of a Black Man, Shocktober, where they just covered it.
Oh, cool.
Actually, good episode. And then the final movie to decide between, which is tied with The Conjuring, is Frat House Massacre.
Yeah.
Which is, I told Chris I was going to pick one non-parent related, but just really gross, bloody film. So I picked a Grindhouse film that I also happen to be in.
This is the one I am rooting for the record, because I feel like I will be disassociated from the film enough having Nick in it that I'll be able to watch this thing and just go, there's Nick naked. Which for the record is the most important part of this film. Is my understanding is that Nick is naked or semi-naked or mostly naked throughout like 70% of his time on screen.
No, well, yeah, maybe that's 70. I am on the cover of the DVD, though.
Okay, so if you want to see Nick naked, just go find the cover of the DVD.
Sure.
But my point is, please save me and embarrass Nick. He has made me just miserable through this entire Halloween series, do me this one favor. And while I may be miserable watching this, at least make Nick uncomfortable knowing that thousands of people will see him in his underwear.
Oh, you think that makes me uncomfortable?
I'd like to believe so.
No, that's just good for my career, friend.
Oh, that's when I was in my 20s.
Yeah,
Gosh, I was so pretty.
I had really good hair. So yeah, go vote, and we will reveal on Monday on the Facebook group which movie we will be watching. Polls open till Monday.
Yeah, so watch the Facebook group, and we'll announce which movie we're watching for that one. And of course, next week on the actual Two Dumb Dads podcast, we won't know yet when we're recording the cargo bonus episode.
Truth.
So that being said, it's time to move into adventures in dadding. So Nick, what have you been up to?
So we as a family took a trip to Savannah, which is where my wife is from, to visit my in-laws and Miles' grandparents and some of our family and friends. And so it was a good trip. I'm actually noticing, kind of, I think the thing we've been talking about is Miles' tantrums, his Tyrell 2s, and it's starting to shift a little bit. It really wasn't bad while we were in Savannah. It was, I think, normal 2-year-old, but there wasn't any like throw on the floor downright fits. I think his tooth has come in, which helped. But I did have 2 really interesting things happen that I think are like a lesson in dadding. Number one, we had a scare when we were in Savannah. It was more of a scare for me than anyone else.
Oh my
God. So we're in Savannah. Same thing happens in Illinois. Like, we're all out without shoes on. Like,
sure.
Just running around because there's grass and it's a yard and it's nice and it was like 80 degrees. So I was inside all of a sudden. Sarah and her dad and Miles are outside and they come running back in. And they're like, oh, Miles got bit by something. I'm like, what? They're like, it's either ants or a spider. And we're looking at it. And Sarah's like, I think it was ants. I was like, oh, okay. Didn't think too much of it. And then I was like, well, what did they look like? And Sarah described to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I started Googling it. And I'm like, I think those are fire ants. So I go outside with a stick and like stick it in the ground. Sure enough, like an explosion of fucking ants attack the stick because they're fire ants.
Sure.
The problem with fire ants is they're not like regular ants where they bite. They also sting. And they're similar to wasps or bees. And I'm allergic to wasps and bees.
I see what you're saying.
So we had this moment of like, oh my God, I hope he's okay. And supposedly these things fucking hurt when they sting. Number one, my kid took that like a champ because after it was done, he was like, whatever.
He's got these Jersey mosquitoes. Can't nothing fuck with a Jersey mosquito.
He's had penis surgery, so he's not allergic to the fire ants, which is good. They do the stings look a little rough on his foot, but so that happened. We also got stranded at the airport for 4 hours. So getting home was like a hot fucking mess. Yeah. But we survived it. But the other thing that Miles did this week, which I just want to share with everyone, this morning we're getting ready to take him to daycare, and Miles is walking around going, sexy, 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 sexy. And I was like, this is fucking fantastic.
That's amazing.
Sexy, 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 sexy. So my adventures in dadding was like, we had a good trip home, and Miles learned to say sexy, which I love.
I want to know who taught him that.
I don't know. I think it's probably just something he heard. But
he just heard one of his, Sarah's friends going sexy.
Or music we play in the car because he just goes in the door.
Sure.
Sexy, sexy, sexy. He's like walking around saying it.
Hey, Miles, how you feeling today?
Sexy, 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 sexy. It's really cool, though. He's actually hit that phrase where he's learning a lot of words and learning to say things in sentences, which is awesome, and makes life a lot easier. And the tantrums have kind of dipped off, at least for the last 2 weeks, which is good for us.
Sure.
So yeah, we had a good trip, fun thing, and we learned he's not allergic to fire ants. So you know what? I will.
Hey, that's great. Cool. So for me, my adventure this week is not yet occurred. I have my father-in-law and his girlfriend coming in town tomorrow morning. Yeah, it turns out family coming into town is a thing, and especially when you have divorce in the family, a lot of people tend to come.
It's like a party.
So, yeah, like I'm excited. Like we're looking forward to seeing them, but it's one of those situations where like I'm gonna have to play like tour guide the entire time.
Oh, you guys doing tour guidey stuff?
I'm gonna have to because I guess he's bringing his girlfriend. I'm not using her name obviously because I don't know if she's
same one or new one.
New one.
Okay. That explains my question then.
Yeah, so his girlfriend hasn't been to New York before, so I think as much as he's coming to visit Thea, I think he's also coming to bring his girlfriend to the city.
Yeah.
They're getting a hotel, which is nice because we don't have space for 2 people.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, obvious to us, not obvious to everyone else out
Yeah.
there. But so it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to Thea getting to see her grandfather, and she's really looking forward to taking the bus. She's been talking about taking the
cool.
big bus for about a week and a half now. I think part of it is because she's figured out that I come home on the buses, so she sees that as like the daddy deliverer.
It delivers daddies.
Yeah, after she looks out the window, she sees a bus go by. About 3-4 minutes later, I walk in the door. So there's that fortunate thing. And then I think she's just looking forward to like doing a big person thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That should be
so
fun.
I don't know how my adventure is going to go. I'm sure it's going to be great. But I'm always a little anxious taking her into the city just because it's like there's just so much logistics that go into it. Like when I go to work, it's like, okay, I'm just going to throw my bag over my shoulder. When it's her, it's like, I have to grab this bag. I have to make sure I have that. We can't get home quickly in the car. We have to take public transit. So we have to make sure everything is. Yeah. But so that's my adventure.
Cool. I did have a story that I forgot to tell you that for some reason.
Are you going to triple up?
Yeah,
you already told us 2 things for adventure. Okay.
But you'll like this one. So when we were in Savannah, Miles was looking at pictures, and one of them was Sarah's brothers. We're like, oh, that's Uncle Greg. And he's like, Uncle Greg. And then all of a sudden he goes, Uncle Chris. Uncle Chris,
Aww.
Uncle Chris, Uncle Clint. So we'll see if that registers with him. But he was saying your name for the most of the time we were there.
That's adorable.
So there you go.
Attaboy, kiddo.
Yeah. Triple up. Sexy, 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 sexy.
Where's Uncle Chris?
Sexy, 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 sexy.
All right. So let's talk about screen time.
All right.
So I don't know. How do we want to dive into this?
So I'll start with what made me think of this. The reason I want to talk about it. So before Thea got here, like right when she got here, what did you think your relationship with screen time was going to be with her? Like when you're like, okay, I'm going to parent this kid. Or did you make a firm, fast rule about screen time?
Shit, here's the problem, right? I think I have my official statements on. We've been going long enough now that I think there was probably me admitting like what I thought we were going to do. So now I'm worried. I think I was one of those people who was like, fuck it, the TV's going to go out there. Like, we're going to get rid of all of our TVs.
Done.
My video games are going to be sold. We're not even going to own a screen anymore. We're going to burn our phones. They're going to be hidden under the mattress every night. It may not have gone that way.
So it's funny. This is why I want to talk about this, because I was kind of the opposite. I was like, fuck it, I don't care. My niece and nephew watch movies all the time, and they're great. And for a while, I was kind of that way. So I'm like, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Right.
And then at some point, and it hit me when we were in Savannah, because whenever we go to families' houses, like we kind of let him just have hog wild on TV.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But we brought the iPad, put videos on it for the plane and stuff, and it worked great. Like, it was a really good idea, but he constantly wants to watch it. I had this moment of like, man, he's watching too much TV. He cannot watch this much TV. I need to stop him from watching TV.
Wait, so you're on an airplane with like nowhere to go, nothing to do. Like, shit, this is the moment. I have to lean in now.
But it hit me when I was in Savannah too. The whole time, just like, he's watching so much TV. What am I doing? I'm a bad parent. It was this weird thing. I went from being like totally, no, it's fine. Like TV, it's fine. Watch it. Well, Sesame Street. And now I'm like, man, he watches too much TV. And I don't know what happened or why this like has seeped into my fucking brain, because that's totally not me as a parent.
Well, how much TV do you guys watch?
That's the problem. I don't know how much is too much anymore. Like, so because he's at daycare most days, right? So when he comes home, we'll watch. So he gets.
Well, he's at 3 out of 7. So he's there sometimes.
Yeah. So well, I mean, so the days that he comes home, like we let him watch like whatever he wants to watch from probably 7:30 to 9 when he goes to bed. Like we'll just put something on. Usually it's like Magic School Bus or Sesame Street.
Oh, so you're like 7 a.m. to...
No, like 7:30 when he gets home. I put something on the TV and let him watch. When he's home with me...
Damn, that's a long day.
Yeah, right? So when he's home with me, like, we'll get up, we'll take Sarah to the train station, like, we'll come home, we'll watch, like, an episode or two of Sesame Street, we'll go to the gym, I usually take him to a playground, then he'll take a nap, he'll wake up, probably watch another episode of Sesame Street or go to the store. So he's watching more like when we're home. Right. I mean, probably 2 to 3 hours worth of his TV viewing, which I'm starting to be like, is that too much? Am I hurting him? It's weird. Like, it just really started fucking with my head. So that's why I was curious, like, I went the other way, where now I'm all sort of worried about this.
Okay.
And I was wondering how you guys are dealing with it, because I think the TV's probably running when you're home.
I mean, yeah. So here's the thing: like like I said, we thought we were never going to turn on the TV, and that we're going to be like the screen-free family after she was born. Nope.
Yeah, I could have told you that one though.
For us, like almost immediately after she was born, we were just like, all right, this TV is never going to be turned off again. But we're a family who like just has the TV on in the background while we're doing other things. And when I say the TV, I mean Moana on a constant 24-hour loop.
Ours was Coco for a long time. It's switched now. We're on new movies, but
I can't get her off of it. I can't. I think she tried Star Wars for a little while. She enjoys Tangled now, but there is nothing. She'll watch Elmo, but if there's Moana, she will ask for Moana, and she knows Moana. Like if she can see the first 3 seconds of that Disney intro and know if it's Moana or something else.
She's like, "Fuck that noise! It's not Moana."
If she doesn't hear like the Moana, it's like, okay, that's it. This isn't it. Nope, this is Tangled, Dad. Switch it.
Which, you mentioned like just having it on his background noise. That's kind of what it is at our house a lot of times too. Because he'll do other things while the TV is on. Like he'll watch something and that's where I'm always like, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. But I'm really starting to question like how much is too much? Is there? I know there's like studies and bullshit, blah blah blah, blah, but I don't know how much is too much for me as a parent, right? That's kind of where I'm struggling. I
mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I know there are studies out there, and I know there are whatever. Like, I think the big problem with this, the big thing with the studies is like X amount per day, or else it leads to what is it, attention deficit disorder or something?
Maybe, or like I said, kids can be more violent. I don't know.
So here's the thing. When I think about screen time, when it comes to TV, for me, I think, and I say that because like Thea doesn't watch it. Like she has no interest. She'll watch Moana. Even then, like she has to be either really tired, really sick, or just really want to watch it. And even then, she won't watch it for more than a couple minutes before she's running off to do something else. Yeah. When we have something on the TV, it's more like we have background noise, kind of like a lot of people or families, I think, put on music on their computer or a record player if you're the cool hipster. Mm-hmm. We just have the TV on. We'll have the Gilmore Girls or Moana, and it's pretty much those two things. Yeah. Exclusively. Yeah, maybe during the
Gilmore Girls, Moana.
Maybe during the holidays we'll have a crappy like Hallmark Family Channel Christmas movie. Things, we'll get there. But for the most part, it's those two things, and it's like you've seen it so often. It's just comforting to have something in the background that you can completely ignore while you're coloring or doing puzzles,
or reading books for miles. But then I guess my question is, why don't you or I, for this matter, just put music on? Like, just change it from something that's on the actual screen that needs to be watched to something that is listened to and is different than, this thing they could get sucked into, even though they do like it. Like, why not just listen to Moana music?
So for one reason is because, I don't know, I like a narrative. Like I do have the Moana soundtrack, and I will put that on in the car if Thea's having a rough drive. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we'll dance to it. Like I'd like to use the CD for dance parties. And when I say the CD, obviously I mean the Amazon playlist. Yeah. But for the most part, like, I don't know. I don't like to, like, for one, the music that I listen to tends to be obscene. Mm-hmm. So I don't play it very often around her.
You don't want to go around saying sexy, 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 sexy.
Oh, no, she says much worse on a regular basis. Okay. I guess what was it? Oh, I guess she and Aaron were at the store the other day, and Aaron was looking for underwear or socks or something. And so they passed by a mannequin in their underwear, and Aaron, I guess Thea just looks up and goes, "Mommy's vagina?" It's like,
that was not from me or my wife.
Oh no, that's from us. Yeah. That's entirely from us. Thea has seen our genitalia. Like we're not like, if she sees it, like we get changed in front of her, whatever, because who cares? Yeah. And if she asks, like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Well, that's my penis." What's that? That's Mommy's vagina. That's
penis.
Hey, at least it's the proper. It's not like she's walking around going like, "Cock." Is that
would be way better in my point of view?
Is that a wang?
So much better. Cock.
I mean, technically, I guess I should be teaching her phallus. But quite frankly, symbol.
I just imagine Darcy being like, "Today we will discuss the penis or the phallic symbol."
Yeah, I imagine she and Miles sitting at school one day just going, "So Miles, how is your phallus feeling today after having it stepped on?" Penis, 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 cock, wang, dong.
They'd get around going and be like, cock, sexy, 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 sexy.
Oh, other child in the corner, would you like to join our discussion of the reproductive tools?
Poop, 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 poop.
Oh, these children.
This is where our podcast is at today.
Teacher, I have just shat myself.
Did you hear that? Well, the story for later.
Okay, that's scary. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm not too worried about the TV when it comes to screen time. If anything, the things that I think about and I worry about are more like computers and tablets and phones.
Really, why do you view those differently than just something on the TV? Why is like a phone, a tablet, or computer for you a different thing?
Well, because for me, it's so for me, it's very explicitly because of my own personal video game addiction. Mm-hmm. As I've told this story many times on the podcast, as a child, as an adolescent, as an adult, I love me some video games. And if it comes between doing just about anything and playing a video game, I'll choose a video game in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so because of that, like there's a part of me, like when she pulls up a phone and she sees like, I don't know, Candy Crush or something, and she starts swiping, I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, don't go down this path. But I'm like, she really enjoys it. She's really excited, but she's not really obsessive yet. Like, and so much, in fact, like she will occasionally like yell at us for playing with our phones. This awesome. Is something that started.
Yeah.
We're like, we'll be watching a movie or something around like shortly before bedtime. We'll be all showered. Like, this is her snuggle time. This is her time. Like, she decompresses before we go in and read a book and go to bed.
Yeah.
And so if we're all like kind of snuggling on the couch together and one of us has our phone out, she'll just kind of look at the phone and be like, "Daddy, what's that?" And she'll point to the TV and it's like, "What? Daddy,
basically
Daddy."
Get your attention to what she's
like,
watching.
Shut up, Dad. Like, stop paying, pay attention to me and the family time. Like, you're right. And yesterday she actually told Aaron, like, put it down.
That's awesome.
I don't remember how she did it. She was like, "Mommy, stop."
That's awesome.
It is good.
It's so interesting to me, like the video game thing, because I guess it kind of encompasses into screen time in like a bigger sense. But like video games make you happy. I always wonder like how bad is it really? Because that's something you're gonna end up sharing with her because you like them. And at the end of the day, it's kind of gonna be an inevitability.
I haven't yet. I turn off. Unless the only time I play a video game in front of her is when when she's Skyping with one of her family members, and that's largely because I know that if I don't, I'll just overtake the conversation like I always do. Because I get awkward, and so when I get awkward, I get chatty. It's like, hey, hi, no, I have an answer to that. Let me tell you things, and so I just like, nope, I'm gonna grab a video game controller. Otherwise, I don't play games in front of her.
So do you think that in terms of screen time, video games is like a quote unquote bad screen time, at least how you're viewing it now?
I think it is a suboptimal screen time.
Okay.
I mean, look, there are good things about video games. Ignoring the stupid suggestions of like, oh, it increases hand-eye coordination. No, screw you. There are other better things that increase hand-eye coordination. I think it's good for, like, it can help with problem solving. I think depending on the games that you're choosing, it can help with social interactions. I also think it can, based upon the games that you are choosing, can teach you important lessons at an older age about how shitty the world is.
Yeah. Well, also there's the whole idea of an interactive narrative, which I think can be really interesting for kids. Like where you're taking part in this narrative that you're playing, but maybe that lowers imagination. I don't know. That's what I like about video games. This interactive.
I mean, look, I like everything about video games, and I don't think they're inherently bad. And I think if I'm being forward thinking for a moment, I think the reality is that screen time is going to have to be neglected. And let me rephrase that. Screen time limitations is going to be neglected incredibly quickly, incredibly soon, because we're living in such a digital age where everything is going to be a screen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in grade school, our children are expected to have a computer, if not with them at school, then certainly at home to be doing their homework on.
I think they're already there. Cause I think my niece and nephew had tablets at school for that reason.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and they're older. Yeah. I mean,
like in grade school?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
that's when they got them, or maybe like, I think Dan has had one. He's not in junior high yet. So
And I mean, when you consider it like that, that means most of their life is going to take place on a screen.
Yeah.
And so I think suggesting that you're going to be able to limit that here at home is not only unrealistic, but it's also counterproductive, because if your goal is to teach kids to prepare them for life, then one of those things means not limiting their social interactions on a tablet or a computer or whatever, but teaching them how to function in a mature and safe way on them.
Like a responsible use of said technology.
Yeah, like look, bullying and shit happens a lot on technology these days. Like if anything, I mean, look, it happened when we were kids too, but like we had aim and you could just close a window or something. These days it's like, okay, you are on Facebook, you are on Instagram, you are on Snapchat, you are on all the things. Nobody's on Twitter these days.
Everyone's on
except
Twitter.
for us, who you can find at Chris Moss again.
and Westermeyer.
For the most part, I think like that's where your life takes place as a child or as an adolescent. And so I think making sure they're ready for that and taking it into account at a young age will help prepare them as they enter into that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The other thing, I thought about with screen time as I was going through this is ultimately like it's kind of a survival mechanism for a parent too. Sometimes you need to utilize it.
Sure.
And so I also wonder, like, what do you show? At what point do you start introducing older material? Like you talk about showing Star Wars as opposed to maybe something that's probably more quote unquote age appropriate.
And I mean, I feel like that's a conversation for another day.
It totally is.
I think for now, like when we're talking about screen time, I think what we're really ultimately talking about, just thinking about, is like, how are we going to prioritize activity versus inactivity?
Yeah.
Are we going to like have them like actively coloring, actively building, going to a park, climbing, all that good stuff, versus sitting on a couch and staring ahead? Not that there isn't brain activity happening there when you're watching TV, but I think it is limited in comparison to a lot of other things.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
And I mean, at least for right now, I'm fortunate enough that my kid just she enjoys TV, but she doesn't really want to do it. She doesn't want to watch it. She would rather be doing a million other things.
It probably also helps that your kid's your child is actually at daycare 5 days a week, and so she's constantly being stimulated in that environment. So you're not fighting what do you do when they're home with you for 2 days or 3 days, which, to be honest, as a parent who has that, sometimes it is just you put the TV on because you need the break.
I gotta poop.
Yeah, you gotta poop.
Sometimes daddy's gotta poop, and you gotta not be playing the knives.
Yeah, and sometimes you just gotta be like, I need to disconnect for like 2 seconds and get myself. So I'm interested. I wonder how that changes as they get older too. Like, does that?
It's going to.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah. But like, how does it change, right? Like, so especially with Thea, who I think is probably less engaged with screens than Miles is. When does that shift change? What changes it? Is it a show? And then how we deal with that as parents? Because even me, who was really liberal on this thought, it's cognizant in my head now. Like, how much do I let him watch, and how beneficial is that, especially come from someone who like that was my childhood in a lot of ways, was movies, and I'm fine with that, but it definitely has an effect, right?
Well, I think one of the solutions is going to be coming up shortly in our recommendation segment.
Halloween.
So I'll save. I mean, obviously Halloween, but then you have candy, and then there's all that kind of stuff. I have a whole thought thing I want to go over when it comes to. We should do a whole Halloween episode.
I thought we were probably going to.
Okay, well maybe we'll do that one then. Either way, I feel like that's a good point to move on to emails. We actually have an email this week, and I think this is a really good email, so I'm glad we're going to have a lot of time to talk about it.
Cool.
This one comes to us from our number 2 listener, Tom in Illinois.
No. He's number 1 now because Grandma Jenny's not listening to the Fantastic Fight Fest thingamajiggy.
I'm sorry, Grandma. I fought for you.
I'm just saying, Tom is number 1 in my book now.
Tom says, "Hi guys, we've been having a small problem with our 12-week-old daughter recently. She hates going to sleep. She'll get." I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
I don't. I've mastered that shit.
Let me tell you. She'll get the glazed over look, start rubbing her eyes, self-soothe. Man, let me read the damn email.
Sorry, I just know.
Laugh off mic, will ya?
That's too good.
She'll get the glazed over look, start rubbing her eyes, self-soothe, the works, but she crosses from tired to very vocally angry. Sometimes she cries herself out within a few minutes, but just as often, it takes half an hour or more before she finally goes down. Just wondering if you guys had a similar experience or any hints, tips, tricks to forego the angry stage straight into sleep. Thanks and keep up the good work, Tom in Illinois. All right, Tom. So let's go through the litany of things that we tried until we realized that there is no answer here. Aaron and I tried bourbon. We tried suffocation.
That's not something you should say. There's a line. So there's this line, and you just
suffocation.
That's probably
okay. So that's the limit.
That's the DIFUS line.
Right. All right.
There.
Let me go ahead and acknowledge we did not try and suffocate our daughter intentionally. Nick, you were the one who mastered this trick. You guys had Miles sleep trained at a really young age. What did you guys do?
So you're gonna tell me with math real quick. I know it's not stupid. 12 weeks is how many months old?
3.
Okay. So first and foremost, we actually slept trained at 4 months. So up until that point, though, we did do a couple of things. One of these things I think you're probably past the point of doing, but I'll still give it to you because I think it helped us. We got a suggestion from a friend of ours who had a baby who was like a month old, younger than Miles, who said, listen, wake your baby up every 3 hours during the day, regardless of if they're sleeping, and feed them. And then by the time you get to like 9 o'clock at night, they will be on the cycle that they'll sleep all the way. So he said, once you get to that time, take them upstairs, wrap them in a blanket, do a ritual, give them food, and then put them in the bed and then leave.
Sure.
And that worked. It got Miles on a pretty good schedule. He'd wake up at like 3, let's say. So one of those things that you can do, establish a ritual, establish a really defined ritual that you will do every night without fail. So that ended up really being me with my wife and I. I would take him up. I'd rock him. I'd read him a story. I did the white noise machine, helped a lot with Miles. So we played white noise for a long time. And then once we got to 4 months, we started sleep training. There's a name for this sleep training. You had said it.
Is it Ferber?
I think it's the Ferber.
I think you just kind of set him down and left, right?
Yeah, but there's like rules to it.
We went doses.
I mean,
we did not do that.
That's probably part of it. So here's the thing that I will say with this. And you can argue whether you should or shouldn't do this, but for us, you've got to get used to him crying or her crying. Like, I hate to be the parent to say like, that's exactly what's going to happen because she's going to fight sleep because they're awake and they're taking all this shit in and they don't want to fall asleep. They want you to rock them and hold them, which is important. So we went with the method of we're going to let Miles cry it out. And it took us 3 nights. We did the ritual, right? We set this ritual up. We swaddled him, we fed him, we put him down, we read him a couple stories, and we left. And he cried. And then we'd let him cry for 20 minutes. Or no, we did 10 minutes. And then we'd go and check him. We'd rub his back. We'd never take him out of the crib. Rub his back and leave. Wait 10 minutes, rub his back. And eventually he fell asleep, right? But it's really hard because you as a parent have to listen to your fucking baby cry. And it took 3 nights. By the 3rd night, he slept through the night. And he has been consistently slept trained from that point on. So my suggestion is, she's going to cry and you have to start learning the difference between like a need and letting it happen a little bit. And that's my opinion. And I will tell you that from my perspective as a parent, the best thing we ever did was sleep train our kid.
So I'm going to come at this from a little bit of a different angle. So like I said, Nick did a great job of getting that kid sleep trained. They have gotten relatively restful sleep for the last 2 years. A little bit less than that, obviously Miles isn't quite there. Point is, for the most part, that kid has been sleeping well since we can remember.
Yeah.
Obviously we did not have a great experience with sleep training. We did not get her to really go down without much of a fight until the last 3-4 months. But what I will say is what we kind of realized, especially for naps and especially at the age that you're at 3 months old, a lot of times when a kid is crying, it's because there's a thing there that she needs. She's hungry. She's tired. She has a wet diaper. She has, there's something going on. And so typically when a kid at that age is crying, in my experience, it's like, look, I need something, fix it. And of course they can't tell you what needs to be fixed. You're going to figure it out. I think you are going to get used to the cries. You're going to get used to the timing. It takes a while. Some people pick it up right away. Aaron was one of those like parent ninjas who's just like, Chris, the kid is wet. How did you know? Damn it, the fucking kid's wet.
Yeah.
And other people like me, it takes a really fucking long time to understand what's going on. But the important thing to realize is that you will figure it out. For now, if I'm making recommendations, because you're talking about naps right now, you're not talking about going to bed at night. You're not talking about like, hey, let's sleep through the night and everything. We're just talking about like, how do we not be cranky before a nap? What I would say is, number one, like go through your list of things. Like, is she wet? Is she hungry? Is she tired? Like, will she just like close her eyes? If she won't close her eyes, does she need a little bit of affection? Can you snuggle her a little bit? Can you, give her a little bit of skin contact? I know for Thea, when she was cranky and overly tired and she was getting upset, a little skin contact would just put her right to bed, because she just, it made her feel better. The important thing to remember, though, is that this is completely natural. This is something that's going to happen to everybody. And some kids, they have a rough time of it. Some kids don't. You're not doing anything wrong. This isn't an issue.
Also, I think it's good to keep in mind that, I don't know, but I'm willing to bet that you're both really tired at this point. No matter how much sleep you get, you're fucking tired with a newborn. And that plays into it, too. So things could be amplified in your mind just based on your own tiredness as well. And so Chris, I think when you're saying you get used to the crying, that's part of it, right? Like, it's stressful. When a baby cries, it's really stressful for you as a parent to try to fix that thing. So keep in mind your own tiredness and limitations. Lean on your partner too, if you have one.
Give each other hugs. Give the family, have family hugs on a regular basis. Hugs and kisses. That being said, keep us updated. Let us know how it goes and what ends up working, and hopefully we can help solve somebody else's stress out there.
So one other tip I used with Miles, and just remember it, now I'm thinking back to naps specifically. There's a video, so if you can find it, it's the butt shake thing. Sometimes when you're rocking, if you gently just kind of rock up and down with your baby, like just bounce them a little bit, hold them tight and bounce them.
Bounce is such a bad word.
I know, I don't know of a better word.
Rock.
But it's not just rocking back and forth. It's taking the baby and like kind of up and down, bouncing them a little bit.
So what's happening here is that it is simulating the motion of the womb. So like people use a lot of different examples here. This is the thing that that they probably taught you at your parenting lessons or the hospital or whatever, where it's just like put them on your shoulder, and you kind of like shimmy a little bit. Yeah, you give it a little, you shimmy the kid to sleep. Shimmy, so shake the kid.
That helped Miles. I would rock in the rocker and then shimmy him a little bit, and that helped really relax him and get him down. The problem with Miles was, though, he was the time bomb. As soon as you put him into the crib, you'd be like, he's down, walk away, Indiana Jones style.
I guess if we want to be really honest, my trick was I would have a little baby dance party to Hey Ya by Outkast.
That's awesome.
Whenever Thea was sleeping. That's the only way she would go to bed with me.
That's tricks you learn, though. You'll learn that with your kid, like what works.
But anyway, like I said, let us know. And if you have a question, you can email us at emails@twodumbdads.com. That's emails at the number 2dumbdads.com. But next up, we're getting into everybody's favorite segment, Nick's Baketastic Ballyhoo.
Sweet.
Nick, what have you been baking?
So I've been baking just some bread. So this has been a weird week where I've made... we left this weekend. I made bread for... I made scones. I had a meeting with a commercial agency, which went really well. So I brought scones to my meeting, and then because they follow us on Instagram.
Cool.
And then I signed with them. Very lucky I've signed with them. And then I made bread and brought them bread today to say thank you. So I baked some bread, but I'm also starting this weekend. I'm starting to make rolls to figure out what roll I'm going to make for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I'm digging into the rolls, and I'm going to let people pick which rolls I should make for our delicious feast.
Oh, cool. That sounds like fun.
So rolls it is.
Awesome. So that's going to bring us to our final segment, recommendations. This is where we tell you stuff that we think you should have, do, enjoy, whatever. Nick, what do you got for us?
My recommendation is going to be Magic School Bus Rides Again. It's a Netflix show, and I love it. Miles loves it too. It's his new show that he likes to watch. It has overtaken Sesame Street.
Oh, cool.
But I really like it because it's 15-minute episodes.
Oh, wow.
Which
I really cut that down from when we were kids.
Yeah, well, Sesame Street used to be an hour. Now it's a half an hour.
Yeah.
I just like it because it's fast, it rotates, it changes. So it's good for me as an adult because it's constantly something different. So you're not stuck on the same episode of like a kid's
That's really
program.
amusing that you have a lower attention span than your kid.
Because I can't even with Sesame Street when it's an hour, like it's just a lot of that same thing over and over again. So I like that the school bus is changing since I'm just listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. It's really updated. It's got some good voice talent in it. Kate McKinnon is the teacher.
Oh, cool.
They brought back the actors who played teacher originally. And the science is updated.
Oh, God.
So I like
Who
it.
was it?
Oh, she's. Really,
I know her name.
She's the
I
one
can
who did
see
the
her face.
The operator on the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah, she's super famous.
Yeah.
She's done everything.
And she still does the voice of the sister of the new teacher.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's on Netflix. There's like 2 seasons. Miles really enjoys it. And I think it's a good I think he's a good age for it right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's my recommendation.
So I am tentatively making a recommendation of something that we discovered recently. So we were at the park last weekend doing our park thing. Thea was climbing on stuff. She was being her ninja self, like trying to basically kill herself on all the high stuff. And I guess Erin grabbed a seat while Thea wanted to take me around to do fun stuff, and she got to chatting with somebody at the park.
Oh, cool!
And this woman had mentioned that she had just started up like a Playdate Facebook group. So we joined it, and it looks like essentially there is a Facebook group for our community in which they set up play dates.
That's really great.
So people join, they say, hey, we just moved to the town X amount of time ago. We have a child who is this gender, this age, so on and so forth. This is their kind of open availability for play dates. Who's interested? So on and so forth. And it seems like they meet every week at the park at the same time. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. We haven't done it again yet, so we're looking forward to seeing how this goes. But hopefully this might be a way of us getting to, meet other children for Thea so she can start getting used to socializing with kids that she doesn't know. And it could be an opportunity for us to meet other parents in the community so we can, have that fun parent-friend thing that so many people talk about.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a really good thing because that's one of the hardest things I think as parents to find is other parental friends.
Yeah, because it turns out your like non-parenting friends don't really want to hang out with you anymore because you got to be home by 9.
Yep. Or they have to come to you, and we live in Jersey.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my recommendation. See if you can find like a Playdate parent group type of thing on Facebook for your community. It seems like there's one for just about every town in America.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for us this week. As usual, you can find me at Chris Mossigan on Twitter and at Rampant55 on Twitch.
You can find me at nwestmeyer on Instagram, at nwestmeyer on Twitter. You can find us at 2_dumb_dads on Twitter and at 2dumbdads on Instagram.
And of course, you can find us at the website 2dumbdads.com.
And our Facebook group, which is 2 Dumb Dads Facebook group.
Really, just Google 2 Dumb Dads and you can probably find something.
Truth.
So until next time.
Sexy, 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 sexy.